The Philippines might be the most successful failed state in history. Dysfunctional government, massive poverty, and constant disasters. Yet somehow they've infiltrated every major economy in Asia. And that paradox? That's exactly why their neighbors can't stand them. Welcome to Rice University, where we teach things they don't teach at Harvard, like why your Filipino nurse might secretly resent your Korean doctor, or how a birthday party almost triggered a diplomatic crisis that would make the Cold War look like a mild disagreement about pizza toppings. Today's lesson examines why the Philippines became Southeast Asia's favorite scapegoat, but here's what makes this fascinating. The hatred isn't actually about the Philippines. It's about something much more fundamental to how nations deal with their own failures. So grab your notebooks because class is in session. Let's start with the incident that gave critics all the ammunition they ever needed. August 23, 2010, Manila. A dismissed police officer hijacked a tourist bus with 20 tourists aboard. He wanted his job back, which sounds like a simple demand, but his method was about as well thought out as bringing a gun to a pillow fight. Except somehow he still lost. The rescue attempt was a masterclass in everything not to do. Police tried breaking windows with sledgehammers but bounced off like they were made of rubber. SWAT teams moved with all the coordination of a drunk spider trying to tap dance. Media cameras broadcast tactical positions live, basically giving the hijacker a free live stream of their plans like some twisted Twitch stream nobody asked for. 8 Hong Kong tourists died that day. 8 people who just wanted to see Manila, but got front row seats to the worst rescue operation since someone tried to save a cat from a tree using a chainsaw.
Back in Hong Kong, people were angry. Dozens turned out to protest at the Philippine consulate, chanting they strongly condemn the government there for being careless about human life.
Hong Kong's reaction was swift and brutal. A black travel warning was issued, Philippine flags burned in the streets, and diplomatic relations froze solid. This wound still hasn't healed 15 years later. Every Southeast Asian nation watched that failure in high definition. One tragedy became the lens through which every Filipino action would be viewed, like judging all of Italy based on one really bad pizza you had at an airport with pineapple. But if that incident lit the match, online gaming poured gasoline on the fire. The Manila incident gave critics ammunition, but online hatred spreads like gossip in a Filipino household. Boot up any Southeast Asian game server, type PH in chat, and watch the mass exodus. Players vanish so fast, you think you announced a pop quiz. Filipino gamers use witness protection levels of identity concealment just to play Mobile Legends without getting cyberbullied by a 12-year-old from Jakarta. They're changing usernames, faking locations, all to avoid the scarlet letters P and H. But gaming discrimination is kindergarten stuff compared to real-world violence. 2019 Kuwait. Jenelim Villavende, a Filipino domestic worker, was murdered and stuffed in a freezer. 2018, also Kuwait. Joanna Demafilis, found in a freezer after being missing for a year. At this point, Kuwait's relationship with Filipino workers makes toxic relationships look healthy.
The total ban on sending OFWs to Kuwait is still on.
The Philippines had to ban deployment to Kuwait. A government literally telling its citizens, please don't go there, they might kill you and store you with the frozen vegetables. Yet the narrative isn't about employer nations having the moral compass of a broken GPS. It's about Filipino desperation. Let's talk about why this happens, because it reveals everything about regional power dynamics. 2.2 million Filipinos work overseas. Their human export is generating $33 billion annually, the Philippines' largest economic driver. They're running a subscription service called Filipinos Plus, and every country in Asia has a premium membership while pretending they're on the free trial. Singapore's medical system would collapse without Filipino nurses. Dubai's service industry runs on Filipino labor. Hong Kong's economy depends on Filipino domestic workers freeing up local workforce. These aren't just workers, they're the backbone of these economies. The hypocrisy is staggering. Singapore restricts Filipino culture, while their hospitals would shut down without Filipino staff. It's ordering Uber Eats, then making the driver leave it outside because you don't want to see them. Malaysia complains about Filipino communities forming, which is like hiring someone, then getting mad when they exist outside work hours. These nations built economic models requiring imported labor, then blame the laborers for existing. Create massive demand for workers, resent the supply. But nothing captures this dynamic better than the pettiest international incident since someone invented borders. 2014. Filipinos in Singapore wanted to celebrate Independence Day on Orchard Road. Singapore shut it down with the efficiency of an auntie claiming a seat on the MRT. The celebration got pushed to a sports hub, hidden away like an embarrassing cousin at family events. The message was crystal clear: work here, serve us, but keep your culture invisible. Singapore's entire identity revolves around being exceptional and organized, like that friend who color codes their bookshelf and judges you for not doing the same. Their country is smaller than most major cities. When foreign populations celebrate openly, it triggers existential anxiety, usually reserved for midlife crises. The online backlash revealed something deeper. Singaporeans flooded social media with complaints about Filipinos getting too comfortable. Some demanded fewer Filipino workers. The subtext: we need you, but wish we didn't. This wasn't about one party. This was about power, visibility, and whose culture gets to matter in public spaces. But here's where the story flips completely. The same countries supposedly hating the Philippines can't stay away. Korean variety shows film there constantly. Running Man visits the Philippines more often than your friend who found themselves in Bali posts about it. Japanese tourists treat Philippine beaches like mandatory pilgrimage sites for anyone who owns a camera. Chinese citizens ignore South China Sea tensions to buy Philippine real estate at rates that would make property agents weep with joy. Malaysian companies desperately recruit Filipino engineers. Indonesian hospitals compete for Filipino nurses like kids fighting over the last piece of candy. The disconnect is staggering. Online hatred versus real-world demand. It's the same as giving a restaurant 1 star on Yelp while eating there every week. Social media algorithms amplify negativity because controversy drives engagement. Normal interactions don't go viral. Filipino destroys Thai player gets millions of views. Filipino and Thai have pleasant conversation gets 3 likes from someone's mom. Or what do you think of why nobody likes the Philippines? Most Southeast Asians don't think about the Philippines enough to hate it. They're dealing with their own problems, like traffic jams that last longer than most relationships.
You son of a cabbage farmer!
So what's really driving these tensions? This is where it gets uncomfortable. Every criticism of the Philippines reveals the critic's insecurities. Singapore's panic about Filipino workers stems from their demographic crisis. They need foreign labor to survive, but admitting that shatters their self-sufficiency myth. They're that person, claiming independence while using their parents' Netflix password. Malaysia loses talent to brain drain because discriminatory policies pushed minorities out. Filipino workers fill those gaps. Acknowledging this means admitting policy failure on a national scale. Indonesia spent decades flip-flopping on English education, while the Philippines maintained American standards. Thailand's entertainment industry relies on Filipino talent they'll never credit. Vietnam competes for the same economic niche, turning potential allies into rivals. The Philippines becomes everyone's scapegoat. When your policies fail, blame the Filipinos. When your economy needs help, hire Filipinos, but you should complain about it. It's projection on a regional scale, avoiding mirrors like vampires avoiding garlic. But while everyone's distracted by manufactured drama, something unexpected is happening. The Philippines executes soft power through human exports, not government programs or cultural initiatives, just people. Millions of them change perceptions one interaction at a time. Filipino healthcare workers saved lives during COVID across the globe. 25% of foreign nurses in America are Filipino. That's generations of families with personal connections to Filipino caregivers. Try hating a country that kept grandma alive during the pandemic. Every Hong Kong family with a Filipino helper who became a family. Every Malaysian student was taught by a Filipino teacher who cared. Every Singaporean patient whose Filipino nurse remembered their name when doctors treated them like case numbers. These personal connections override political narratives. The Philippines plays the long game. While others build walls, Filipinos build bridges. While others protect culture through isolation, Filipinos spread theirs through integration. It's cultural infiltration through kindness, and it's working. So why do some Asian countries look down on the Philippines? Simple. It's easier than examining their own failures. The Philippines represents everything that shouldn't work, but does. For example, chaos-beating organization, joy despite their poverty, and success, despite centuries of colonization. The Philippines refused the Asian development playbook. Choose messy democracy over efficient authoritarianism. Picked adaptability over rigidity. And that terrifies countries that chose differently. Because what if they chose wrong? While critics craft superiority narratives, Filipinos keep building global lives despite obstacles that would break most nations. The hatred isn't about the Philippines. It's about what the Philippines proves. That there's more than one way to succeed. That formal structures aren't everything. That sometimes beautiful chaos beats organized emptiness.